So first, I'd like to thank you for joining this webinar. And my name is Agathe Saunier, and today I will show you how Wordbee Freelance Entrepreneur license can help you start your own translation business. Actually, during the demo, I will show you how to create a supplier in Wordbee and how to create a project and assign a translation job to a supplier. So as you can see right now, I am connected to my Wordbee environment. And this is here the home page. The idea of the home page is that you can see at a glance your recent projects and your recent jobs also, because as project manager you want to have a global view. So this page is totally customizable. Okay, so you can choose to display more or less panels. And again, the idea is really to see at a glance the most important information. And now if we focus here on the tabs on the status bar, you will see all the elements that you can manage with Wordbee Freelance Entrepreneur platform. So you can see here that you can manage your projects, okay, translation projects, but also your jobs. So what we mean by jobs, actually it corresponds to the different tasks that will need to be completed within a translation project. So it can be a translation job, a revision job, a proofreading job, etc. All different kinds of jobs. Even jobs that cannot be performed in Wordbee, like interpreting jobs, etc. You'll be able also to manage your clients and suppliers' information, your resources. So we mean by resources your translation memories, terminology databases, and project memories. Well, we'll see later that a project memory is automatically created in Wordbee whenever you create a project, because you'll be able to translate online using our translation online interface, and whenever the translator fills in the translation, it will be saved in the project memory. And finally, you'll be able to manage your company's information. So this is where you will create logins for your in-house workers, but also this is where you will create the price list that you will apply to your clients. So what I propose to show you now is how to create a supplier. Since you know that with a freelance entrepreneur platform, you have a project manager license and a supplier license. So to create a supplier, click on the suppliers tab. So you can see here that I have already multiple suppliers. So to create a new one, you'll just click here and you see only the fields with an asterisk or mandatory. So only 2 fields here. And you can of course complete the different fields to add more information, such as a contact name, for instance. So let's say that I want to add a freelance translator, which name is Julie. I enter her email address. And below you will tick create a login for this company. And now you have to create this person a login and a password. First need to enter her last name and first name and create her login. And select her profile. So because this person is a freelance translator, I will select external worker. So the idea is that this person will only receive the jobs that I assign to her. And I will connect later as a freelance translator connecting to perform a job, and you'll see that the person can see her jobs and she has an access to the Wordbee translation interface to perform the jobs. I'll show you this later. And you need to select next to type freelance translator and click on save. Now the second step consists in entering the discounts practiced by this person. So let's say that for 100% matches or above, the person practices an 80% discount, and for 90% or above, a 70% discount. And she practices no discounts for matches below 90%. Okay, if the person has minimum charges, you can enter them here also. And by clicking on save, we will reach the final step, which consists in entering the prices of the person and the tasks that she can perform. So let's say that she can translate from English into French. If she could translate from English into several target languages, you should tick here to select multiple languages. Okay, it's a translation she can perform, and enter here a price per word and click on Add New. Now, if the same person can revise from English into French, you should enter it in a new line. Okay, so from English into French, task revision, and again the price per word, and click on Add New. So this is it. We have now created a supplier with a price list. And now I propose to show you how to create a price list that you will apply to a client. So before creating the price list, you should make sure to have entered your client's information here, okay, on the clients tab. So you can see that I have two clients because the first line is always it corresponds to your company. Because when you create a project, if you want, you don't have to select a client. You can decide that the project is for yourself. This is why your name, the name of your company, appear here. So here we have clients, and what I want to do is to create a price list for the ABC company. So to do so, I reach the My Company tab and click here on Prices. And this is here that I will create different price lists. If I click on the arrow here, you will see that I already have different price lists, and especially one for my client Jerry company. And I have a standard price list, of course. And if I click on Add New Price List, and I will say, okay, ABC price list, because it is for my client ABC, currency in euro, it's perfect. I will enter here my discounts, okay, on fuzzy matches. Okay, so let's say that here I practice a 70% discount, and for 90% or above, a 60% discount, and for 85% or above, a 50% discount. Same thing, if I have minimum charges, I can enter them here, and I can leave internal comments if I need to. Click on Save. And here Wordbee will always copy by default the standard price list. Okay, this is why it's really important to have one, so that you just have few changes to make here. So let's say that, okay, I can perform an English to French translation for the ABC company, but my price per word will be different. So to modify the standard price list, I can click here on the little pen icon. I click on it, and okay, let's say that for him the price per word, it's a little bit more expensive. And I click on OK. And you will see custom here when you modify the standard price list. I can also modify the price here for the revision task. Click on OK. And for this client, I can add a price. Let's say that this person I know always want, besides of the revision job, a proofreading job. So I select proofreading, always from English into French, and I enter here the price per word. And by default, the price list will be applied to all clients. And if I want, I can click on all clients, add clients, and only select the ABC company, so that this price list, when I will create a project for this client, this price list will be proposed to me. Here, so I know that this price list is applied to one client. So I guess we're now ready to create a project. I will just show you briefly how you can, if you already have translation memories and glossaries, how you can easily upload them on the platform. So you will upload them from the Resources tab of your platform. So here on top, see I've already clicked on it, and you will see here translation memories and terminology databases. So if I want to add a new terminology database, I'll click on Add New, import new terminology database from File, and here you see the list of formats you can use to upload the memory. It's the same list of formats for translation memories. Okay, see, it's the same list. So the formats, they correspond to standard formats, so you can really easily upload the resources you already have on your Wordbee platform, so that you can easily reuse them on new projects. So now I will create with you a project. So we have two different kinds of projects in Wordbee. We have CODIT projects. CODIT stands for Continuous and Dynamic Translation, and it corresponds to our project automation. So the idea is that we pre-configure things in advance so that whenever we have a new document to translate, the workflow can start immediately. Okay, so it's a bit of pre-configuration, but once it's done, you've basically, as project manager, you just have to follow the work progress. And we have what we call standard projects. You usually use standard projects for documents that you will translate once, okay, from A to Z, and you generally use CODIT for dynamic content that you know will be regularly updated, so that you generally do not close the project. You always add a new version. So I propose to create with you a standard project. Click on New Standard. And you automatically reach the first tab of the project. You see there are 6 different steps, and you always have to fill in this page before you can reach the other tabs. So the new project details page, well, the project status is always set to in progress, but you can change it. For example, if you do not want to start the project immediately, then you can select preparing. Or if you want it to start immediately, you can leave the project status as in progress. Here you will have to enter a reference name to your project. If you do not enter a reference name, Wordbee will automatically generate a project number made of the year and another number. Okay, so reference, we'll say okay, project 1. We will select a client. We will select the ABC company. Now we will select the price list we want to use for this company. ABC price list. We can select here the deadline. So let's say it's for early June. You can leave here internal instructions. Let's say that you know that this project is urgent. Sorry, close this. And so, okay, this is urgent. You will select here the source language and target language or target languages. For this project, we want a translation from English into French. So we'll select French here. The domains. Well, the domain, they correspond to fields of expertise according to which you have organized your translation resources. So the idea is that you select a domain if you have entered the domains for your translation memories. If you do not organize your translation memories per domain, then this is not really relevant to select a domain here. For instance, if you've organized your translation memories per client or per products, then it's not really relevant to use the domains here. And finally, the tasks. Well, let's say that for this project, we just want a translation from English into French. So we can now click on Save and Continue. The second step consists in uploading the document or documents to translate. So you can upload them or drag and drop them. And if you see here on the left, Wordbee has created folders according to the languages we selected previously. So the idea is to upload the document to translate in the source language folder. So English for us for this project. So I can now click on drag and drop, and I will drag and drop the document to translate. I can now close this page. And now, very important step, you need to mark the document for online translation. So as I've done, you right click on the document, translate yes, no, and mark for online translation. Yes, online, and you confirm. So the idea here is that Wordbee is going to segment the document and prepare it for translation. So here it is an HTML document, and if I open it, just so I can show you. So you see it's an HTML document with titles in bold and blue, different paragraphs, etc. And a title here in yellow. So the idea is that Wordbee will keep the formatting of this document so that when I will finish the translation, okay, I will recreate an HTML document and the titles will be also in bold and blue and this title in yellow also. So Wordbee really keeps the formatting. Same thing if I was to translate a Word document, Wordbee will recreate a Word document with my translations. So you see here the green mark and the star, it means that you have marked the document for online translation. Now the third step consists in selecting the resources to use for this project. So you can click here on Add to select them. So here you have all your project memories, translation memories, and terminology databases. So if we untick these two and click on Search, you will see your translation memories. Let's say that we want to use this translation memory for this project. So we can click on Add. And we also want to add a glossary to this project. Select our glossary and click on Add and Close. So we can see here are two resources. We can now go on fourth step, the word count step. We can click here on Count Words. And here, if you have created a word count profile, you'll be able to select it here. So as well as for the prices, you can create a word count profile per client if you want. Or you can use your default configuration. So basically here with this configuration, Wordbee will see if there are in context matches or fuzzy matches from the translation memory we added. So remember, we have added translation memory and a glossary, and during the word count step, Wordbee will pre-translate our document from these resources and will count if there are any matches. Okay, but only matches that do not fall below 90%. Okay, because we do not want the pre-translations below that percentage to appear in the translation interface. So we can click on OK. And now Wordbee is counting the words and the matches from the memories. So you can see here the number of characters, number of segments, but also the number of words. You can see that 526 words found no match. There are 30 pre-translations, fuzzy pre-translations, 176 100 pre-translations, and 44 perfect pre-translations. And you can easily export this data by clicking on Export Excel. Now the fifth step. Well, you can skip this step if you want to translate the project yourself. Okay, you can go on the Work and Delivery tab and click on View Work to start translating yourself. Okay. Now, if you want the translation work to be done by a freelance translator, you can click on Jobs and create a job. So it's simple. You click on New Job, you select the task to perform, you want a translation, you can select a deadline because maybe you want to be able to have a look at the translation before the deadline of the project. So you will ask your translator to finish earlier at this date. For instance, you select the document to translate and you click here on OK. And finally, you will click on the three dots icon to select your supplier. And I propose that we select the supplier we just created, who was Julie Brochon. We select her. And by default, Wordbee will take a calculate cost, because remember that we have entered this person's price list. So based on the word count and the prices of this person, Wordbee will automatically calculate how much this person will be paid. And we can decide supplier can view cost or no. I don't want the supplier to be able to view the cost. It's your choice. By enabling the supplier to view the cost, you will be able to send him the quote or invoices for this job directly through the platform. You won't have to send the quote by email, for instance. So you can now click on confirm. Okay, so you can see here how much you'll have to pay for this person. Okay, the cost of the job. You can click on back to the project. And you now see the cost tab. This is where you will create the invoice for your client and for your supplier. Well, you see that the quote for your supplier has been done already, but if you select it, you'll be able to create an Excel or PDF file with this data. Okay, so to create an Excel or PDF, you select to create a quote or an invoice. Well, first maybe a quote, and if it's accepted, you'll be able to create the invoice. You see here format options. Click here to select Excel or PDF. Okay, let's select PDF for instance. And now click on create file. And now Wordbee is generating the PDF document. You can preview the file. Okay, click on preview. So this is our quote, and you can easily customize it with your company's logo here. So we see that everything's okay. We have all the details we want, so we can close this. And now, oh, I'm sorry. So create file and save and attach. And here you can see that you can download the quote. Okay, so the idea, if you allow the supplier to view the cost, the person will be able to download her or his quote directly from his Wordbee workspace. Because when you assign a supplier login, he has his own space on your platform. So this is the idea. And when you will want to create the invoice, it will be the same process. Click on attach, select the format, okay, Excel, PDF, and the language also, English or French, German, Portuguese, Spanish. You can add more. Okay, these are the basic languages, but you can add more from the settings tab of your platform. And you will create the file. And now what's interesting is to modify when the supplier will accept the quote, you'll be able to modify the status, okay, to always know where you stand regarding the invoices for this project. Now we can click on quote sent. And we can close this page. Now if I refresh the page, you should see a little logo here, meaning that you can download the quote. And if you can, and if you see can view, it means that the supplier can download the quote as well. Now I want to create the quote for the project, okay, for my client. So I take create client quote / invoice, continue. I make sure that this is the prices I want to use. Okay, so this is the one we created. So it's great. We can click on continue. And here, based on the word count, Wordbee has generated the quote for my client. So if I want, I can modify the lines. Okay, by clicking on the pen icon, modify the price, the quantity, etc. So you can make modifications and you can add a line. Let's say that, for instance, you want to add a layout task or etc. You can add it here by adding a line, actually. Once you will have entered all the necessary information, you can click on OK. And same process as for the supplier. You can create the quote by clicking on Attach, Create File, and Save and Attach. Okay, now you can download the quote and send it to your supplier. It's only when you have the client portal that the client will be able to download the quote himself. Actually, if you do not have the client portal, you will have to download the quote and send it to your client. So you see, it's really easy to manage invoices in Wordbee. Okay, now from the cost tab of the project, I have the two quotes for the supplier and for the client. And now, basically, as project manager, I just have to follow the work progress, and I can follow it from the work and delivery tab by clicking here on this icon to view the work progress. So, okay, the blue and gray color correspond to pre-translations from the memory. Okay, now if I want, I can enter the translation interface by clicking on View Work. And here, when the translator will perform his job, I will be able to see his translation from here directly. Okay, because the person will be translating online, so I can connect to follow the work progress from here also. Okay, so you have the icon, and you can connect here. Now, the idea of Wordbee, of a collaborative platform, is that the translator can interact with you easily. Okay, if you're stuck in a segment, like, I don't know, this one for instance, and he wonders if he has to translate, okay, the EU here, so he can easily interact with you. So click on the bubble icon and send you a message. So do I have to translate the EU, for instance. Okay, so you can click on the envelope. Okay, you will see your name. So this is me, project manager. And by clicking on OK, you will receive an email notification. So I just want briefly to show you what your supplier can see when you assign him a login and a job to perform. So I will log out and connect with the credentials we created for Julie. So it was this, if I remember well. So you see, I'm now connected as a supplier. So the supplier also has a home page. You can customize as you want. You can display more or less panels. You can change the emplacements also. Click on yes. He has his own agenda, so you can easily let you know if it doesn't work these days, for instance, and you will be notified on your platform. So you can see his recent jobs. Well, this person has no recent jobs for the moment, and they will be able to follow their jobs from the Jobs tab here as well. So when you will create standard jobs, the person will receive the job here under standard jobs, and if you send coded jobs, the person will receive the job here under coded. And what the person can modify is her login information, password here, and select her language preferences for the platform. Okay, so we have now English, Dutch, Spanish, German, French, and Japanese. So this is it for the presentation of the Wordbee Freelance Entrepreneur license. If you have any questions, I will now open the question box. So do not hesitate to leave your questions here in the question box. If you have questions after the presentation, you will be able to send them to me by email. Okay, you will receive an email tomorrow with the recording of the session, and there will be my email address. So if you do not have any questions right now, you'll be able to send them to me afterwards. So I'm gonna wait 1 more minute. I'll wait for your questions. The questions or chat box if you wish. One thing I forgot to mention during the presentation is that you have one supplier license, okay, but you can create multiple suppliers, okay, from the suppliers tab of your platform. It is just that you will only be able to enable a supplier one by one. Okay, so you can create multiple suppliers and enable the logins when you will need them. Okay, let's say that, for example, you create a project for a client and you want a supplier A to work on it, so you will select him, okay, enable his login, and 2 months later you will create a new project and you want another freelancer to take care of the translation, for instance, and then you will enable the login of the supplier B and disable the login of supplier A. And if you wish, you can always ask for more supplier logins. Let's say that for specific projects you need more than one supplier license, then you will just have to send us an email and we will activate a new supplier license on your platform. It will only cost you 35 euros per month per additional supplier license. So do not hesitate. I'm still available for your questions. Well, I'm not receiving questions. I guess the presentation was clear. Again, do not hesitate to send me your questions if you have some after the session. I'll be really happy to answer them. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending this webinar. Have a great day or night. Thank you very much. Goodbye.